Hello, I'm Rita Vernon, principal of Barry Manilow Elementary School. I've been in my position for 18.5 years, going strong. I'm really happy to be here to learn this new, what do the invitations say? Synectics. Hi, I'm Matilda Bageshot. You can call me Tilly. I'm from Lincoln Elementary. I've been principal there for five years. Going strong. Go Wildcats. Yay, I'm excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Hogarth of Uncle Buck Elementary. It's my second year. I just love everything about being here and doing things like this and talking about my feelings. Hi, I'm Ed Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Elementary. I've been here 22 years and I am a little frustrated to be out of my building today. But that's okay. Let's go on with this.
All right, well, welcome everybody and thank you for coming. We know that it is a busy time of the year for you. What we are going to do today is to bring you through a process of rethinking, making the familiar strange. It's a way to make your brain kind of really move and groove about things that we're very familiar with, but maybe need to look at it in a different light. Today, our topic is paraprofessionals. As you know, our district has several paraprofessionals. We do have some issues. We're struggling with chronic absenteeism. We also know that paraprofessionals are saying that they're feeling a little frustrated from time to time because their job is changing so much from day to day.
You bet. So Patty and I'm Missy Isis, Associate Superintendent of Elementary, and Patty's our Director of Special Education. We work with all of the principals on staffing your building to meet the needs of your building. And so this is a big topic that is really important that we take some time to go through today.
All right, so again, the process that we're going to use is called Synectics. It does make the familiar strange, and our topic is paraprofessional. And the first thing that we need to have you do in phase one is to take your Post-it notes and write down as many descriptive words that you can think of that describe a paraprofessional. So go ahead and do a little bit of independent work time.
Well, you guys, thank you. Thank you for all the Post-its and thoughts that you've put down. I've tried to capture it all up here. So we talk about in phase one, describing what it is to be a para. We have kind, adult, caring, useful, human, least trained, flexible, and responsible. And so I know this seems a little disconnected, but we'll pull it all together as we go through the process. But we're now going to kind of leave this alone, and Patty and I have chose an object that we're going to focus on, and it is game pieces.
So game pieces will be the first thing that you're going to think about to connect and do an analogy with to paraprofessionals. So though it won't seem like it yet connected, we want you to take a little bit of independent time again, use your Post-it notes, and write down as many game pieces that you can think of. Nice work. I think we've all played the same games. Ed, I bet you were a dice man, I'm thinking. So game pieces that you came up with: dice, checkers, pawn, spinner, and timer. And before we came over to the board, we talked a little bit about which one of these game pieces do we think matches more with paraprofessional, and we all agreed that the pawn from the game of chess would be a good comparison to use.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed hearing the conversation about how each of these compare. And so that we did agree on pawn. And so we're going to move into thinking about how does it feel to be a pawn. And so again, we have a little bit of work time. So I'll let you each on your own write down, what does it feel like to be a pawn in the game of chess? All right, we had to kind of cut off that conversation, I realize, because we had a lot of feelings when it came to it. Competitive, purposeful, strategic, voiceless, small, manipulated, expendable, inferior, weak, underappreciated, protective, and movable.
I think they really captured what it's like to be a pawn in a game of chess, right?
Yes.
Those are really great words. So the next phase is called our compressed conflict phase. And this is where we want to take the words that we thought of in terms of what it felt like to be a pawn and put them together, but not how they are similar. We want to put them together on those that are more opposite each other, more of a juxtaposition. That's what a compressed conflict is. So Missy, you were saying the other day, you had a really good compressed conflict.
I think we were, Patty and I are fortunate to be in a class that we looked at some of these, and I thought maybe a couple examples would help us. So if we use the word water droplet and flood, and so there's many water droplets that make up a flood, but they're very opposite in the quantity of water as we go forward. And so I just want to make sure that we give a couple examples, and now we'll have you pick two of these that you think are contradictory to each other. So I'll let you work. Oh, that was an interesting conversation, Patty,
Yeah, it
of
really
the
was,
different
wasn't it?
partners that people have put up. It did seem like we were able to come to agreement. We kind of naturally morphed into group work instead of individual work, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. You actually, I think we meant to even cue that and probably forgot and you went into it. I know that as we talked about this again at the table, Missy and I mentioned how we were going to look at the most contradictory. So the two that are like the most in a compressed conflict together. And I believe Matilda, you were the first one to mention, the strategic and movable. The strategic part about being something that's given a particular job, and yet you're able to be moved from place to place. So as we're thinking about both a pawn and knowing we're talking about paraprofessionals, really seems to fit. So we did go ahead and we circled strategic and movable as the compressed conflict that we're going to be working with. And so in the final phase, what we are going to do, Missy and I again already talked about what the category we'd use for our compressed conflict, and we decided to pick furniture. And we're going to do another connected and direct analogy and have you work together in pairs again that went so well, and start thinking about the types of furniture that can be both strategic and movable.
All right, welcome.
Yeah, welcome back, right? Oh, you guys have done a great job. And I'm glad you came back from the break as quick as you did. That's awesome. So, Missy, why don't you go ahead and talk about some of that?
Yeah,
some of the
so
words that came
what
up
I
with.
heard is you guys were thinking of hammock, folding tables, folding chairs, crib, stool, ottoman. Kind of enjoyed the conversation about an ottoman really being movable for each person to put where they need it to be helpful. Some use it as an end table, some use it for their feet. But it seemed like by the end of our conversation, we agreed almost unanimously that folding chair was the piece of furniture we thought represented this compressed conflict of being strategic and movable. So if you have a lot of people, you would have more folding chairs. If you needed it for one person who could not stand through a ceremony, you could move it to that location to allow for that. So folding chair is what we concluded on there.
Okay, so now for the final phase of the synectic method of making the familiar strange, we are going to have you again now work independently, taking one of the larger sheets of paper, pen or pencil, whatever you like to write with, and we are going to have you write a 4 to 5 sentence paragraph that describes a paraprofessional, our topic, to a folding chair, keeping in mind this whole process that we went through. So we'll give you some work time. Okay, again, I know as we sat down at the table before and talked about how we were going to put these sentences together, Missy grabbed a sheet of paper real quick and we jotted down a very collaborative effort coming up with our paragraph.
And so our paragraph describes a para as a folding chair. And so I'm going to go back though and rethink about our goal today is re-imaging paraprofessionals, because I do feel like we've been in a little bit of a rut with that. So here's what we came up with. Paras are hired in districts with the primary purpose of providing FAPE, a free and appropriate education for students. Their original placement is often strategic, so the students are supported based on their greatest need. However, issues such as increased mobility as students of diverse needs and para absenteeism create a need to reassign paras to new placements.
Okay, so we're not quite done with this whole thing yet. We are done with the synectic process at this point with the phases, but I know that we have another meeting scheduled in a couple of weeks. So we want this to kind of sit on your brain a little bit. Hopefully this re-imaging, if you look back at our original phase 1, we had some pretty true but basic ideas about the paraprofessional. So as we went through the synectic and made the familiar strange, we were really able to come up with a very comprehensive description of maybe where some of our issues are with paraprofessionals.
Yeah, I heard already you wanted to start problem solving, what you heard, but we are going to have you wait till our next meeting in 2 weeks. But I do think it helped maybe bring some clarity to the group of what our next steps need to be.
Okay, we have provided you with a link. It's a Google Doc link. Missy, you did email that to them, right?
I did.
Okay,
I
and
did.
it's your exit ticket, because we always like to know and ensure that we're getting feedback on the processes and procedures that we like to share together as work groups. So if you could go ahead and link into that Google Doc and give us some feedback on what you thought or valued about this presentation or the process, what you thought what you thought you learned from it, and then also we would like to know if there are things that we could have done better. Anything else, Missy, that you can think of
No,
for the good
thanks
of the...
guys. Have a great rest of your day.
And get back to those buildings.